What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome back, lads, to another Serie A preview prediction show, guys. It's been a very good international break for some people, not for me, not for a lot of people. Everyone has the international break, including me. But guess what, guys? We're back. It's finally time for the club season to continue, and it's time for your daily dose, ladies and gentlemen, of the Serie A previews. And we are back this week with the games on Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, we are gonna start off with Como against Parma. Now, Como, I think they did get their first win recently against Hellas Verona in the league, I'm sure. They did lose their last game against Napoli. Very disappointing loss. But again, it's against Napoli. They're the most formed team in Serie A right now, let's be real. And as far as Parma is concerned, they're still yet to win a game this season in the league. Absolutely poor. And I think that, listen, at the end of the day, I believe that Como have started the season relatively better now. They're beginning to find their feet in the league now. Cesc Fabregas is beginning to make things work with the team now. So because of that, I am going to give the edge to Como. I'm going to say Como are going to get their second or third win in the season. They're going to beat Parma by a 1-0. That's my predictions on the first game of the Serie A games on Saturday. And then at the same time, we're going to have Genoa versus Bologna. Now, both of these teams are in the wrong part of the table, let's be honest. And let's be real, both of these teams are not in good form. They're both in terrible form right now as it stands. We've got Genoa, who lost 5-1 in their last game against Atalanta, and before that they lost 3-0 at home to Juventus. So they have not exactly been in the best of form. They are coming into this game in the worst form of their lives. And as far as Genoa is concerned, they've got one win in their last 5 games. Now, that's more wins than Genoa, don't get it twisted, but they're still poor. They drew at home to Parma in their last game. Like, they drew their last game against Parma at home. I mean, they've definitely had their own issues. I believe that they might rotate their team, because obviously they will be in the Champions League this next week, and because of that, I'm actually gonna go for a draw on this one. I'm gonna say this game is gonna end 1-1, Genoa 1, Bologna 1, and then in 3 hours after that, after those games, we have Milan versus Udinese. Now, Milan started the season awful. Extremely bad. They were very poor. However, you know, they kind of found their feet, but they did lose their last game at home in the Serie against Fiorentina, who got their first win of the season against them, funny enough. Udinese, however, have actually started the season relatively well. I know, you know, they lost their last home game. They lost at home to Inter Milan, but they did win their last game against Lecce. It was a 0-0, but it was a good win. And they started the season well. They're relatively at the top of the table. But this is going to be away to Milan, who, yes, they did win their last game at home against Lecce, funny enough. What will we see in the game against Udinese? Will we see Milan finally get back to form, or will we see Udinese continue the good start of the season? I'm going to go for Milan win, but I'm going to say this is going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go Milan 3 at Udinese 2. That's what I'm going to say, because I believe that both of these teams are going to cancel each other out. Now, the final game on Saturday is Juventus versus Lazio. Now, on paper, this is actually going to be a very good game. Juventus still yet to lose this season so far. They actually conceded, I think, their first goal of the season in Serie A last week. Funny enough, in a draw against Cagliari, which was quite a surprise, drawing against Cagliari. Shout out to Cagliari on that. But yeah, they got their first draw in their last game. And as far as Lazio is concerned, they've recovered well. Like, they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, and I'm including some of the games in the Europa League as well. But their last defeat was against Fiorentina, basically, and because of that, this is going to be a very interesting game, because, like I said, last year in good form. You know, Juventus they had a little hiccup at home, but will they be able to recover? We will definitely see. I think that in the end, my honest opinion is that I believe that these guys will recover. I do believe they will recover. Juventus will recover, and I think they're gonna. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna say they're going to win by 2 goals to 1 against Lazio. Now, those are the games on Saturday. The games continue on Sunday, and you know what? We're gonna be starting very, 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 very well because we're pitting two teams that are actually relatively in very good form. Actually, we have Empoli against Napoli. Now, obviously on paper, it seems that Napoli have it in the bag because they have started the season well. However, if you really deep it, they've had issues. They had issues in the beginning of the season, but now they're beginning to find their feet now under Antonio Conte. He's finally getting his team. Lukaku is back in his good form. Kvaratskhelia is doing his thing again. Like players like McTominay have been doing their thing since they've arrived, and obviously, they have not looked back ever since their first defeat in the season against Hellas Verona. They won out of their last 5 games, they've actually won 4 and drawn 1. So they're in the form of their lives. And Empoli, who were also undefeated until, funny enough, the game before the international break, where they did lose, unfortunately, against Lazio. They lost 2-1 against Lazio. That was a very, very it was I wouldn't say it was an awful defeat because obviously, they've been in very good form and no one's really expecting them to do much this season, but this was a very, very good win for it. It was a very, very good game for them. They did lose. How will they do against Napoli? Unfortunately, I think the Napoli are going to continue their good start to the season. So because of that, I'm actually going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say, unfortunately, Empoli are going to get another defeat this weekend, and they will lose against Napoli 2-0. I'm going to go 2-0 to Napoli. And now we have the next game on Sunday, which will be Lecce against Fiorentina. Now, I'm not going to lie. I have not liked watching these two teams play at all. These are the two, for me, I have not enjoyed watching neither of these teams play. However, I will say this. Lecce have been in awful form, very awful form since the season has started. They lost their last 3 games. They've lost their last 3 games, right? Their last 5 games is 2 draws, 3 defeats, still yet to win. And as far as Fiorentina is concerned, ever since they actually lost, funny enough, against Atalanta, which before that they did draw all their games in the league, but ever since that defeat, they've actually woken up because they've won their last 3 out of their last 4 games since they've won. So, yeah, they've been in very, very good form. Their last one was against AC Milan, a very, very hard-fought victory for them. How will they do against Lecce? I think they're going to continue the good start. However, I do want to say they're going to continue the good start, but they've not really had good away games. So how are they going to do against Lecce? I'm going to go for a draw. I'm not going to go for a win. I'm going to say this game is going to end 1-1. I'm going to say Lecce are going to get a point out of this game. Now, on the next game, we have Venezia versus Atalanta. Venezia, it's poor. It's very, very poor. They have basically lost 4 out of their last 5 games. They did win their last home game against Genoa, to be honest. So that's a good perk for them. However, they're playing Atalanta, who, look, they won their last game 5-1. They drew their last away game against Bologna and actually lost at home to Como before that. And then, so, yeah, they've not really been exactly the most consistent team. And what are we going to see against Atalanta? I do believe that against Venezia against Atalanta, I do believe that Atalanta will get it done in the end. I still believe in them. I still think they will get it done. However, I don't think it's going to be that easy. So I'm going to go 3-2. I'm going to say Venezia are going to lose 3-2 to Atalanta. Now, the next game on Sunday will be Cagliari against Torino. Now, I've already mentioned about Cagliari. They got an amazing draw away to Juventus, which is not easy. Like Juventus, they conceded their first goal against Cagliari. So shout outs to them. And they've really done very, very well so far. What can we expect from them? What can we expect from these two teams? It's not going to be a great game. However, Torino, despite the fact that they started the season well, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. And, I think they did lose their last 3 games. Yeah, I think they lost their last game against Inter Milan. To be fair, it was a very entertaining game, 3-2. I actually did watch the game. And funny enough, the game against Lazio was another entertaining game, which they ended up losing 3-2. And then they lost 2-1 to Empoli, which was a surprise because I predicted them to win that game. So what do I expect in this game? obviously, like I said, Cagliari. They, and I also mentioned this about Cagliari. I know I talked about them drawing against Juventus. But even before that, they won away against Parma and actually beat what's the name in the Italian Cup. They did win. So yeah, they've kind of been they're kind of in very very good form right now. So this is going to be quite an interesting game. So I'm actually going to go out on a limb and I'm actually going to say that this game is going to end in. I'm going to say Cagliari are going to win. This is going to be a surprise. I'm going to say Cagliari are going to beat Torino by 2-1. And the final game on Sunday will be, this is the one that we're looking at. This is the big game of the weekend. Roma versus Inter Milan. What a game we've got between these two teams. Now, let's start with Roma. They got a draw in their last game against Monza. Very, very disappointing draw. However, they did win their last home game against Venezia 2-1, and they did win before that. They did destroy Udinese 3-0 at home. So their home form has actually been picking up very, very well, and it will need to pick up because their next game is against Inter Milan, who are the most formed team in the Italian league. I know Napoli are up there as well, but I'll be real, this is going to be a very, 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 very tough game for Roma. So, and like I said, Inter Milan, they won their last game. It wasn't easy for them, but they did win 3-2, and they did win their last away game 3-2. So, one thing I would say about Inter Milan is they've been leaking a lot of goals recently. So, will Roma take advantage of that? We'll definitely see. We'll have to see. So, however, what is my prediction, the scoreline? I'm actually going to go for a draw. I'm going to say this game is going to end Roma 2, Inter Milan 2, and that will be the last game on the Sunday games. Now, we do have a game on Monday. Not really the most interesting one. However, it's Hellas Verona against Monza. Now, Hellas Verona they did win their last game against Venezia. However, they did lose 3 games before that. So getting that win before the international break was a huge morale boost for them. And like I said, Monza, they drew against Roma, like I said. And they've definitely had tough games, and they've had to deal with a lot of issues. However, they have not been in good form. They have not been in good form. And I'll say this, right? They've had a lot of surprising games. However, at home, this is away, and their away form is awful. And Hellas Verona, because they won their last game, this is going to be a very, very interesting one. Should I predict them to beat Monza? You know what? I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to say this is going to be Hellas Verona 1, Monza 1. That will be the final scoreline in this game. Now, those are the games for the Serie A round 8 this week, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the Serie A games this week. Like I said, a lot of good games to look forward to. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to Football Overseas, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, Omar BYT. And remember, guys, like the video, subscribe, and peace. You guys take care.